Hi, everybody. I'm so excited. Another amazing episode and interview with the global, I call her global icon, Theresa Roemer. She's not only has a heart of gold, you guys. I mean, I fell in love with her the first time I saw her videos and all these wonderful acclamations, especially with her giving back to charity. I think that's so important. She's an ultra successful author, business mogul, TV personality, philanthropist, entrepreneur, lifestyle mentor, and most importantly, she's going to inspire you guys to become your greatest self and then accomplishing your dreams to go to the next level. So please welcome Miss Theresa Roemer. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me, Kat. I'm so excited for this interview.
Yes, me too. So I want to get started. Can you take people back to when you were a child and then let people know that you didn't always live this glitz and glamour lifestyle? And what were your goals as a child and then now, a very successful businesswoman?
Well, I knew at a young age I wanted my own money. As a child growing up on the ranch, we never had a way of making money. Like it was just called chores. Go out and do your chores. And then by the time I was able to move into town and actually get a newspaper route and start making my own money, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Got my own money. Don't have to ask for a dollar or two from my mom and dad. This is cool. So I fell in love with being able to have my own money at a young age. And from there, I just wanted to just make money. And so I literally have not worked. I have literally not worked since I was about 9 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And so whether it was as a small child or whether it was as a teenager or a young mother that just freshly got divorced, it did not matter. If it meant I needed to work 4 jobs just to be able to keep my head above water, I would do that. And to this day, I always tell people, if I lost everything tomorrow and I had to go back to living in a 500 square foot apartment and drive a beat up old Volkswagen Bug, I'd do it in a minute because I will recreate myself and I will land on my feet and I will succeed again.
Wow. So talk about manifestation and how important that is.
There is nothing greater in life than manifestation because I think you can manifest your health. I think you can manifest your wealth. I think you can manifest anything that you want to manifest. If you want it bad enough, you can manifest it. You've got to speak it into the universe. You've got to believe in it. Like I said, I believe everything I've ever wanted in life, I have manifested it, from having my own money to having lots more money to owning my own health clubs to living in mansions, having a Rolls Royce. It just doesn't matter. I think as long as you want it, crave it, desire it, and work for it, you can manifest it. It'll happen.
Okay. Now, I want you to talk about some of the expenses of owning a large ranch in a state like yourself that people don't get to see. In case they want one, they can know, it's more than just paying the note if you have one. And can you talk about that?
Well, thank God we don't have a note. My whole life, even as a smart businesswoman myself, I always believed there would be 2 things I would always have in life: a house payment and a car payment, because I would always want a different house and I would always want a different car. So I always thought I will always have both of those regardless my whole life. And it wasn't until I met my current husband that he taught me otherwise. And he said, everything in our life will be paid for. If we can't pay for it, we don't need it. Because if the bottom ever drops out, we'll be okay because everything's paid for. We won't have a car note. We won't have a house note. We won't own, credit card bills, nothing. Like he said. So, and I was like, oh, but I want a new car. And he would say, you don't need a new car because right now you just don't, and so and true enough, through 2008, when oil plummeted and for 5 years, we were all crying at oil being at $27 a barrel. And during COVID, it was negative 38 a barrel. And, and now with inflation and the cost of everything, knowing that you have no debt is an amazing feeling. And so I finally get it. It's like, oh, that's what he meant by everything will be paid for in our lives. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very, very smart man. How is he doing?
He's doing much better. Thank you. But back to the original question, the expenses of having an estate, let's just put it that way, because whether it was the last 5 houses that we've owned, which the last one had the world's largest closet, but now we've got this one, or whether it's the ranch, you can't have big top dollar things in your life without having to have the top dollar things that come with it. Like I was trying to teach my assistant the other day, if you're going to own a luxury car, you have to put up with the luxury repairs that come with a luxury car. So if you buy a Chevy Malibu, replacing a tire or changing the oil or whatever it is going to be a lot cheaper than if you own a Mercedes and you need a new tire or the oil change. So with the ownership of a huge estate or a ranch or anything, you're going to have big dollar items that need replaced. What if our water well goes out? We're going to have to drill a new water well. We're not on city water. What if something happens to our septic system? We're not on city sewer. You've got all of these things that nobody thinks of. They're like, oh, it's going to be so fun to own a ranch. But there's a lot of big expenses that go into owning luxury.
Okay. Can you talk about the importance of not only networking, but connecting and cultivating relationships? I know you're a corporate philanthropist. Can you talk about that?
Well, back in the day, before the internet, you might not be old enough to remember that. Back in the day, before internet, there was such a thing as exchanging business cards. Now it's like nobody hardly carries a business card anymore. They're just like, oh, can I get your information? And they put it in their phone, right? Everybody's got their iPhone or their Android, and that's how we keep information. But back in the day when you had to exchange business cards as a way of networking, and you had to go to functions, you had to go to happy hours, you had to go to the Kiwanis meetup and greet, you had to go to the chamber, you had to go to those type of things to be able to network with other businesses or business owners or entrepreneurs, because as long as you supported them, they supported you. Now we've got the internet. Now we've got social media. Like it's 100 times easier now than it used to be back in the day. But networking is so important. I don't care if you're just a social media person and you want to grow your numbers, you're going to probably have to network and collaborate with other social media influencers to help get those numbers to grow. Same thing as a business owner. You want more business coming in your doors. It's probably easier now than it's ever been. Like back in the day when I had my health clubs, I had to pay a fortune to have radio ads and TV ads to get people in the door to join my health clubs. Now you can just get on social media, throw some specials out there, and social media does a lot of the work for you. But it's so important. That's really the only way you're ever going to grow, whether it be as a social media influencer, an entrepreneur, or a business person.
Okay. So talk about your Hey Peeps community. How did you come up with that name? And then, what makes people want to join your community?
Because they love me.
Well, of course that.
I don't even know where Hey Peeps came from. Like, I think back in the day, I would watch a few social media people and they'd have their little, however they introduce themselves. And I thought, oh, that's so cute. And then I can't even remember where Peeps came from. Like, I just think Peeps was short for people, like, hey, people, So I was like, hey, Peeps, and people started loving it. So I was like, okay, we're onto something, I guess, So then we did Hey Peeps t-shirts, and then everybody, like, if I didn't start the video off with Hey Peeps, they'd be like, oh, what happened? Why aren't you using Hey Peeps anymore? Like, and I was like, oh my God, they really like that, And so then we were like, well, hey, why don't we start a Hey Peeps community? And, I do special things for my Hey Peeps community that I don't do for other people. Like, I get them extra videos. We do extra giveaways for them. So I feel like I treat my Hey Peeps followers more special than I do everyone else.
Okay, as you should. So, what makes you so humble and to share your lifestyle?
You know, I always go back to this. We all sit on the toilet the same way.
Mm.
you know, you know, and so I think as a little girl, I can remember getting my very first Barbizon modeling job.
Oh my gosh, I used to be a Barbizon model too. Oh
Yay!
my gosh.
So not all, I started out as a Barbizon modeling model in high school, and then once I became an adult, I actually became a instructor. Yeah. So, anyways, but I can remember my mother taking me in the bathroom and saying she wanted to teach me how to do my makeup, and I said, "Oh, you don't need to do that because they're going to show me how to do that." And she said, "I'm going to show you how to put your makeup on." I was like, "Okay." And so we were sitting in there, and she's helping me teach how to apply makeup and whatever. And she said, "You know, God has blessed you with some looks, but if I ever catch you using those looks to get anywhere in life, I will take you out. I brought you into this world. I can take you out of this world." But she said, "I want you to know that there's always going to be someone prettier than you. There's going to be someone smarter than you. There's going to be someone more talented than you. There's always going to be somebody that's better than you. So don't think that you're all that and a lollipop."
Okay.
So I think then she put the fear of God in me, but that always brings me back. Like just when, somebody would say, "Oh my God, you're so pretty." And I'd be like, "Okay." If you think so. I mean, like, or they would be like, "Oh my God, you're so talented. You're so this." And I'll be like, "No, I'm just like you. Like, I'm just," and they're like, "No, you're way up here." And I'm like, "No, I'm just like you." So I just always try to remember we all sit on the toilet. We all go to the bathroom the same way. I'm no better than you are. You're no better than me are. We're all in this boat together. So yeah, I don't know. And my mother always used to say another thing. She used to say, "You could be the prettiest woman on this earth, but if you are stuck on yourself and you're snotty and you think you're all of that, it makes you ugly really fast."
Wow.
And so I just always remember that too. It's just like, why when you get to a certain level and you get to a certain level of wealth and all that, do you have to change? Why should you change? I'm still that little girl at heart that came from the ranch, that had to wear hand-me-downs, that never had anything new, and had to work in the gardens and had to milk the cows. And I'm still that little girl. Like, people say to me, "Why are you out there doing that? You have so much help. You don't have to do that." And I'm like, I like doing it.
Yeah.
I like doing it. It's part of who I am.
Mm. So what's one of the biggest fears you had to get over?
In business, in life, what?
It could be one or both, with whichever comes to your mind first.
I think my biggest fear in business, I've always been my own boss with everything I've done. But when I first bought my very first health club, I think I'd almost talked myself out of getting it. Like, oh, it's just never going to happen, because I was applying for a small business administration loan and I was jumping through hoops and it was taking forever. And I think I had finally convinced myself that it wasn't going to happen. Like, it's just not meant to be. And so then when they finally called me and told me it had happened, I was like, what? Oh God, now what do I do? It came true. But I think the big thing is, and I try to stress this to a lot of fans and followers, is you just need to get out of your own way sometimes, because we are our biggest obstacle. We will talk ourselves out of it. We will lack in confidence. We won't believe in ourselves. And so I really try to tell people, you're your biggest obstacle. Just get out of your own way. Make it happen.
So, what are some of the do's? I want a jet one day, Theresa. So, I'm asking this selfish question. What are some of the do's and don'ts? I see a lot of nice jets, but what are some of the things that, if you could, I guess, give advice for people that want to buy their own plane or jet?
you know, that used to be one of my goals too, was I was not going to be happy until I had my own private jet with my initials on the tail. That was when I was being like, okay, I finally made it, right? But now, I mean, and this is probably just in the last 2 to 5 years, with certain levels of ownership and jet cards and all this other kind of stuff, it's kind of like, and a lot of celebrities do this. So don't don't really think all celebrities own their own jets.
Right.
They don't. You got a few out there that do, but for the most part, celebrities are very smart too. They don't live on their airplanes. They take occasional flights and whatnot. So a lot of celebrities will do this fractional ownership and whatnot. And I think that's a smart way of going about it, because whether you want to own a yacht or whether you want to own an airplane, both of them take a lot of money. And do you want to really tie your money up in that's sitting there most of the time that you're not using?
Mm.
Or do you want that money to be working somewhere else for you, and you own fractional ownership in a jet along with 150 other people? Look at it this way. How many people do you know own a football team all by themselves?
Nobody.
Mm-mm.
Right.
You can look at any football team, basketball team, I don't care who it is. There's one big person out in front that looks like they're the owner, but behind him or her, they've got about 250 little owners, right?
Right.
There is no one out there. So say Tillman Fertitta bought the Houston Rockets for 150 million. I'm just throwing a number out there. I don't know. Okay. It wasn't his own money. It wasn't him all by himself. It was him with his money and all of these people back here with their money. So now I've started thinking a little differently about a jet. I'm like, okay, do I want to spend this kind of money on a jet that I'm only going to be on once a week or once or twice a month? Otherwise, it's sitting there,
Mm.
and I'm paying for pilots, and I'm paying for all that, and it's really not getting used. Or do I want to do fractional ownership where there might be 50 of us that own this jet, and you just have to reserve it like you would anything else? I'm like, so I don't know. I'm really looking at ownership of a jet in a totally different way now than I used to, because I used to think, woo, I got to own it all by myself.
Right. Oh, man. How do you protect your peace?
My peace,
Mm-hmm.
my peace and quiet, like my
Yes, like your peace of mind with all this that's going on. How do you protect your peace?
Well, first thing in the morning, I get up and I thank the Lord profusely for letting me wake up and spend another day on this earth and try to get done what He wants me to get done.
Mhm.
Second, I spend a little bit of time meditating, manifesting, and basically trying to put a shield around myself, because I don't like drama. I don't like hate. I don't like, and so if anybody tries to come at me, whether it be on social media, in person, whatever, I'm just like Wonder Woman with my little, it's like, oh no, not today, ma'am. No, not today. Like, I am very, very protective of my space. I only allow so many people into my space. Uh, I really do guard myself. Even when it comes to the ranch, we don't let the address be known. We don't let people really know where it's located. Um, I'm a very, believe it or not, I'm a very private person. I like being out there when I want to be out there, but when I'm not out there, I don't want anyone around me. I want my peace, my quiet, my family, my close friends, but I'm very protective.
Okay. Last three questions. So I got this from the audience. Someone asked, "How can I collab with you?" So what is Theresa's qualifications for now for collaboration? I'm sure you've learned what to do and what not to do with collaboration. So what are some of those things that you look for?
Well, and here's the other part. I am not one of these people that unless you pay me a certain amount of money, I'm not going to do a collaboration with you. I'm not that person. I used to tell my daughter and my assistants and everybody. So sometimes I would go and be a keynote speaker somewhere, right? And we would think leading up to this event that there would be like hundreds of people there or thousands of people there and all this. And we'd show up and there might be 70 people there, right?
Wow. Okay.
And we used to laugh. We were like, oh my God. Like, oh my God, how did we not know this was going to be this little, right? You know, so I started to teach my assistants and my daughter and everybody, there's no one too big or too small to do a collaboration with, because you never know where that collaboration is going to take you. And because I've been generous enough to do speaking engagements and whatnot for little groups and whatnot, it's led to bigger, better things. So I always try to say to people, you're not so big that you can't donate your time to a smaller group to make somebody happy and make their day, because you don't know where that's going to take you.
Wow. So what's your advice to the women that are over 40 to be fit? Because some people think it's too late and they had a baby and I'm married and I don't have time. So what do you have to say to those women?
You know, some of these women that we're talking about, if you said, hey, it's girls' night out, can you get a babysitter and let's go spend a couple hours girls' night out having cocktails? You don't think they'd make time for that?
That's true.
You think they'd get a babysitter for that?
That's true. That's true.
So I always say people will make time for what they want to make time for. Like I said, if it was girls' night out and cocktails were in charge, like, you would not be able to stop that woman. She'd be there in a heartbeat. She'd probably be there early. Get away from her kids, get away from her husband. Woo, get me there, you know? So I always try to tell people, you know, it's a matter of what's important to you in life. And, you know, I always say what happened when we were little kids, getting on our bicycle and chasing off with our friends used to be fun. You know, going out and jumping on the trampoline used to be fun. Going out and playing basketball used to be, you know, back then we just called it fun. Like we're outside having fun. But now if you ask somebody to get on a bicycle and pedal around the block, they're like, oh, are you kidding me?
Right. Yeah.
You want me to exercise?
Right.
But back then we didn't even think of it as exercise. We just thought of it as we're just playing. We're just having fun. You know, so that's how I look at it now. Sometimes I personally love to work out because to me, it's a huge stress reliever. I know the benefits I'm getting from it, health-wise, looks-wise. So I myself, I don't even have to talk myself into it. It's just kind of like, hey, I get up and brush my teeth every day. Why wouldn't I get up and move every day? You know?
Yeah.
It's really that important, but people don't put it at the top of their list. You wouldn't walk around with stinky breath. So why are you going to walk around with your heart not as fit as it could be and your body looking as good as it can be? It's not all about vanity. It's about health. And when you get to a certain age, vanity goes out the window. I mean, like, yeah, we all still want to look good, but there comes a spot in your life where you're like, hey, I just want to live longer. You know, I just want to live longer and healthier. Like, I don't want to be on high blood pressure medicine. I don't want to be on high cholesterol medicine. I don't want to have to take all those medications. I just want to live longer, healthier. What can I do to be healthier?
So what's next for you, and how do you stay on track with your goals or let me say goals, results that you want to take care of?
Well, first of all, I truly believe everybody needs a whiteboard in their life, either a chalkboard or a whiteboard or whatever. And most people, unless it's written down, they're not going to remember it. You know, they might be like, oh, I want to save $100,000 this year. Well, did you write it down? No. So did you look at it every day and remind yourself of it? No. It was right here. Sometimes right here never gets out of here. So that's why I try to tell people, you got to write it down. You got to write it down. You got to look at it every day, and you got to go, oh, woo, I haven't even put $5 in towards that goal yet. How am I going to reach 100,000 if I haven't even put $5 in, But if you look at that every day, you're going to go, oh yeah, I need to put $10 in today. It reminds you, or there's got to be, we all have goals, we all have aspirations, but if you don't put it down and look at it and remind yourself of it, it never gets out of your head, and it just stays in your head. And then you're mad. It's kind of like people that want to lose weight or get in shape. It's up here in their head, but that's about as far as it gets, because they don't do anything to work their way towards that goal. And what's in store for me? I never know. I never know. I always tell people every day is different in my life. I never wake up and it's never the same. I have things that I want to have happen. I've written my 4th book. I'm trying to get it published right now. So that's going to be fun. We've got more products coming out in the TR skincare line, some serums. So we're going to be doing that this fall. I'm trying to get this ranch remodel done so I can start really doing some amazing collaborations with amazing people. Trying to talk to some production companies on some stuff. So, just working away like I always do.
Okay, awesome. And last question, how do you select the right people to work for you?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Even back in the days when I had my health clubs, I always used to say, if I could clone myself into I would be so happy.
Right.
You get those employees and you're like, why do I have you working for me? I should have just done it myself. You ask them to do something and then they do it wrong, and then you got to go back and fix it. And you're like, I should have just done it myself the first time. Good God, Or I used to say, sometimes you got to go through 30 bad people to finally find one good one. And then when you find a good one, you got to really try to hang on to them, But, you're just, no one's, and today, God, I can't even imagine having to have hundreds and hundreds of employees, because I think sometimes the work ethic nowadays is totally different than it was even 20 years ago, 10 years ago. I see it so differently now. Everybody wants to be a president or a CEO with no work experience. And they want the pay to go with it too, But it's hard. And, I've had Mr. Fab now, my assistant I have right now. We've tried numerous times to bring other people on our team. And both him and I just shake our heads. We're like, oh my God. Why did we hire that person? So it's hard. It's hard. And him and I both always come back to, see, the two of us get more done, just the two of us, than if I had 5 other people here. Because by the time we babysit those other 5 people, we could have already had it done and out the door, because we know each other so well and we work together so well that we meet, we get it done, poof, it's over with, But when we got other people, they come to the table with all these qualifications and, oh, you can do that? Okay, great. And then it takes them all day to do one little item, and we're like, okay, yeah.
Time to go.
Yeah. It's tough. I don't know if you have the same problem, but it's tough.
Yeah, I think that's good, because I think sometimes people think that they're not big enough or they're not doing anything if they just have, them plus one person. Like, they need 10 people, but then I'm like, you got to trust those 10 people, hope they don't steal from you. And like you said, executing, it's so important. I'm glad you said that.
No, and like it's important. Even like my housekeeper's been with me 8 years, And so, like I said, I've had some bad ones, and then when I finally got a good one, you hang on to them, and you treat them right. But it sometimes more is not better. Sometimes the leaner your team is, the more you can get done, because sometimes when there's too many people, stuff doesn't get done because crap falls between the cracks. Somebody says, "Oh, I thought she was going to do it," and I thought you were going to do it, and it becomes a big babysitting job.
Right.
Whereas when your team is very small and you work well together and you know each other and you've trusted each other, like I could literally hand Fab a bunch of videos and say, okay, I'm going to be gone for the next 4 hours in meetings and doing this and doing this. Can you get this done? I don't have to come home later that day and think, I wonder if he got any of it done. I know it's going to be done, and I know it's going to be done right. So, like I said, the bigger the team doesn't mean the better you are. It just means you might be wasting money.
Okay. So as we wrap up, are you still doing mentorship?
Yes.
Okay. Can you talk about that?
Well, I never looked at myself as a mentor.
If someone's interested in getting mentorship, and of course include your social media and things like that.
Right. Like I said, I never looked at myself as a mentor or a teacher because that's never what I thought I was supposed to be. But somehow that fell into my lap. And I think it comes back to being a personal trainer all my life. You kind of really are a mentor because people want to look like you. Kind of like a beautician. When you go search out a beautician, you don't go have the woman that's got the ugliest, nastiest hair cut your hair, right?
That's true.
You really look at somebody and go, "Oh, she's got nice hair," or she's got a nice wig on, or whatever. But she knows how to take care of it, So I just lost you. Where'd it go? Shoot.
You lost me?
Where'd it go? She just went off the screen.
Oh, I still see you.
You still see me?
Mm-hmm.
We were on Chrome, weren't we? There it went. I don't know. Sorry. But anyway, so as a personal trainer, same thing would happen. People would come to me because they'd be like, "Ooh, I want to look like you." Because as a personal trainer, I felt like your body was your billboard. Like you are your own walking billboard. And so I think being a personal trainer, you're kind of a mentor anyway. So I think later in life, it kind of stuck with me. Like people wanted to learn from me because of all of my past experience and knowledge and everything. And so now at first I was scared. I was like, "Ooh, what do they need to learn from me? I'm not that knowledgeable, am I?" Once again, questioning myself. But it was like, well, yeah, you are knowledgeable, Theresa. You've got all of these years of knowledge on so many different levels, whether it be on wealth or grief or businesses or whatever. And so we started the coaching calls because people were like, "Hey, I want to learn from you." And so it stuck. So yeah, I do group coaching calls, and then I do individual coaching calls. But yeah, I like I said, I never labeled myself as a mentor, but it sticks. Like now I have the internet, where I didn't used to have the internet as a personal trainer, but now I have the internet so that I can mentor and teach more people instead of just the one-on-one training that I did as a personal trainer.
And you don't have to hop on the plane to get it done now.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need that private jet now. I got the internet.
Right.
Oh yeah. So I thoroughly enjoy it, and it's amazing that I have people as young as 12 reaching out to me. 12 and 14. I'm like, really? Wow. Like as a little kid, I don't think I would have ever reached up to somebody like me for mentorship. I don't know.
Okay.
It was kind of scary. It was just kind of like, what the hell? Like, what are you doing, God?
Right. So can you tell the world where they can find and connect with you at?
Oh yeah, you can find me on my website, theresaroemer.com. You can get me on Instagram, Theresa.Roemer. You can get me on TikTok, Theresa Roemer, Snapchat, Theresa Roemer, Facebook, Theresa Roemer. I'm everywhere. I can't hide from you. I'm everywhere.
Oh. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I truly appreciate it. It's the one thing you don't get back. And I know people got tons of value. I know I did. So my words of wisdom is don't buy the jet. I guess I can charter it or fractional ownership. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate it. And definitely, keep us in the loop. Let us know your upcoming books and products. We'll love to support that as well. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much. It was fun.